Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It is official, signed, sealed and delivered. Mauricio Pochettino is the new manager of Chelsea Football Club. And you know what the funniest thing is about this whole thing, right, is that Christopher Nkunku has now been a Chelsea player under 4 different managers before he's even been announced by the club, let alone make an appearance for the club. Graham Potter, Bruno Salvatore, Frank Lampard and now Mauricio Pochettino. I just find that funny, even though he's not officially, so to speak, a Chelsea player yet. But if Fabrizio Romano is anything to go by, which I think it's fair to say he is anything to go by, then he is officially a Chelsea player. But yeah, nevertheless, Mauricio Pochettino, he has become the Chelsea manager. And to be honest, the reason why I'm doing this video, a lot later than most Chelsea channels, to be fair, is because I like to do it with managerial appointments where I wait until they're actually officially announced and maybe, pictured holding the shirt before I give my thoughts in detail on the appointment overall. And obviously we've known for about a month, if not longer now, that Pochettino was going to be the manager going forward from 2023. But I've kind of held off on this video because I just think that you can only really properly put across your emotional view and, your overall view on the manager once they've actually been announced. And, you only really process certain thoughts once the manager has officially been announced, and obviously he has been announced today, hence why I'm doing this video now. And in terms of my overall opinions on this one, I think it's one where at the start I was a little bit like, why? You know what I mean? Because I think it's really easy to get sucked into the whole, well, he ain't won nothing argument, because, yeah, mate, he was managing Spurs. I mean, you've seen how Jose Mourinho got on with them, a serial winner. You've seen how Antonio Conte, a serial winner, got on with Spurs. I mean, it's like fucking trying to draw blood from a stone winning a trophy at Spurs, it seems. But I don't hold that against him. Also, I don't hold against him his time at PSG, because I think we've seen now from PSG's track record with managers, you think of Pochettino, obviously, Unai Emery, Thomas Tuchel, all managers who were, somewhat deemed as failures at PSG and ever since then have gone on to succeed massively at English clubs. You think of Tuchel, obviously, with Chelsea and Emery at Aston Villa. So I don't really think it's fair to, judge Pochettino, firstly, on his PSG time, and secondly, in terms of the job he did at Spurs, I don't think it's fair to dismiss the job he did at Tottenham due to the fact that he never won a trophy, because you think about it, when he took over at Spurs in the summer of 2014, I mean, they looked absolutely nowhere near like winning a trophy, and this guy got them to back-to-back title challenges in 2016 and 2017 and a Champions League final against all the odds with limited resources, to be fair, and obviously developed a lot of players there like Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Moussa Dembele, for example, Victor Wanyama, Christian Eriksen. And yeah, like I said, I mean, at the start in my thinking about Pochettino becoming the Chelsea manager when the links first started happening, I was very pessimistic about it, but then I dove a little bit further into it and actually looked into it more, and it's actually quite a decent fit if you actually think about it in terms of the personnel we've got, in terms of Pochettino's style of play, mainly focusing on the one he played at Spurs because that's the most likely one I can think of that he's going to play at Chelsea, which involves 2 attacking fullbacks with Ben Chilwell and Reece James, 2 very attacking fullbacks obviously, and obviously he had Danny Rose and Kyle Walker back then, and there's not a lot of managers out there who, coach systems that play with 2 attacking fullbacks. Normally it's one that's inverted or with an elbow tactic. So I think that first of all is something that suits our personnel. Second of all, he obviously likes to use a second striker. We saw Dele Alli playing that role at Spurs, where I think we have Kai Havertz for that, Christopher Nkunku, Joao Felix. So we've got a multitude of players who can play in that second striker role behind a striker that we're obviously more than likely going to sign now in this upcoming transfer window. So I think in terms of the squad we've got, and I think in terms of the personnel of players we've got, I think it's quite a decent fit, especially as well when you look at the fact it's a very young squad, and Pochettino is obviously a manager who thrives off developing young players and loves to have young players under his guidance. And yeah, like we've seen with players like Dele Alli, for example, amongst other players, he's really been able to be successful in terms of developing a young squad and getting the best out of them at Spurs especially. So I think it's a really good fit from all those angles, like I said. And I think as well, another thing that unfortunately for Chelsea Football Club has to be taken into account is the clout, I suppose, around the manager before he takes him, because Chelsea's a weird job, right? And Chelsea is a job where the fans need to be 100% behind you and 100% liking you before you actually step in the door at Cobham, to be fair. And I think it's a case where to appease the Chelsea fans from the get-go, you have to have a certain amount of, like I say, clout at an elite level football club or at the elite level in football in general. I think a perfect example of that in the opposite direction is obviously Graham Potter, who had no real clout at an elite level football club or in the elite level football management. Obviously, managed Brighton, did a really good job there, but if you think of managers like Thomas Tuchel, Tuchel, Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, all managers who have had that so-called clout in the elite level management in football before they took the Chelsea job. And obviously they were three managers that were absolutely loved and adored by the Chelsea fan base from the word go, really. So I think it's an important thing for Pochettino, even though he's not got that clout in terms of trophies, but I think he is a very highly respected and highly rated manager in the elite level of football and could have pretty much most jobs in the world of football. So I think that's one thing that definitely goes in his favour as well, and it sounds a bit mental to say that, but I think at Chelsea it is something that has to be taken into account, like I said. Another thing that I really like about this one is the fact that, first of all, he likes to play a very energetic style of football and a very press orientated style of football, and in possession does like to be a possession based team, which I think we've tried to find the balance of in recent years with managers like Mauricio Sarri and obviously Graham Potter, two managers who do like to coach a heavily possession based style of play. But I think with Pochettino it's a little bit different. It's very intense out of possession and likes to deploy that aggressive press from the front, play defensive high line, and just play on the front foot and play exciting, attacking, expansive football overall, which I think will definitely go down well with the Chelsea fans overall. So I think that's another thing in terms of the style of play that Chelsea fans will massively be able to get behind. And one thing I do like about Pochettino's style of play, and one thing that his teams have been notorious for in recent seasons, is the interchangeable nature of the front four players. Obviously with that second striker, the number 9 and the left winger and the right winger, they do like to interchange in game. We see that perfectly with Arsenal this season with Martinelli, Trossard, Jesus, Saka, who do like to drift into each other's positions as the game goes on, which does create a little bit of an element of uncertainty for opposition defences, which I think definitely these Chelsea players will be capable of when you think of Mykhailo Mudryk, Noni Madueke, Joao Felix, Christopher Nkunku, Kai Havertz. And one thing we will definitely see is obviously a very attacking brand of football, like I said, with those fullbacks that do like to go forward and join the attack, with Ben Chilwell down that left hand side and Reece James down that right hand side. And yeah, one thing that will happen from that is creating overloads with the left winger and right winger, then obviously playing more inverted to allow those runs down the flank from Chilwell and Reece James, which like I said will create overloads with that second striker and with that number 9 as well, and yeah, with that holding midfielder who will then drop in alongside the two centre backs to form a back three in possession to obviously cover for any potential counter attacks. And I've done out a little graphic here for how I think Chelsea will line up under Pochettino next season for the most part, obviously in a 4-2-3-1, which you would have to imagine now will be his preferred formation at Chelsea going forward. So there's obviously two positions that are, well, three mainly to be fair, that are a little bit uncertain in terms of the personnel in those positions. As you can see, the goalkeeper and the striker, fucking God knows who they're going to be, to be honest, so I've just put God knows for those two positions in this team. And obviously the holding midfielder position as well is one that's obviously not certain right now. It does look like we are going to be signing a goalkeeper, a striker and a holding midfielder, but if rumours are to be believed in recent times, Manuel Ugarte looks like he is going to be the man to sign for Chelsea and play in that sixth position next to Enzo in midfield, which I'd be all for, to be fair, especially given as well that the rumours are suggesting that he is a Pochettino favourite signing, so I wouldn't complain whatsoever if that was the case. And yeah, then from this graphic as well, the back four, which has Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana playing as those two central defenders, both will be very capable in this role given the fact that they are both very technically astute and will be able to, you know, play that high line as well, which Pochettino wants to be able to play, to be aggressive and play on the front foot. You have Ben Chilwell and Reece James, like I said, as those wing backs who will be able to essentially just be automatic wing backs in terms of joining the attack, but also having the energy and the athleticism to drop back as well. In that midfield double pivot of Manuel Ugarte and Enzo Fernandez, you've got that balance of Ugarte, who is a ball winner but also is technically decent in terms of his passing range as well, and Enzo, who will be able to play a little bit more advanced than he has done in his Chelsea career thus far, because obviously he's been playing as a six for us and we haven't really been able to, in my opinion anyway, unlock Enzo's full potential as a creative deep line playmaker because of that. So I think the addition of Ugarte or someone like Caicedo or someone else who, you know, would be our six next season will be an absolutely welcome addition and add a lot of balance to this midfield in the double pivot next to Enzo Fernandez. Then in the front four, as I said, you've got Mykhailo Mudryk in left wing, you've got Noni Madueke in right wing. I've got Christopher Nkunku as that second striker, although I do think for some reason I just feel like Kai Havertz might start in this role. I just think Kai Havertz is absolutely perfectly suited to that role, and obviously I've been one of the main ones especially that has, you know, doubted Kai Havertz and kind of turned on him, because obviously since he's joined Chelsea he's not shown the quality that we want to see from him on a weekly basis. But I do think Kai Havertz, if he's going to ever fulfill his potential as a Chelsea player, I think it will be under Mauricio Pochettino in that second striker role, and if he doesn't, then I think we just wash our hands of him next summer, to be honest. But I think Kai Havertz could be one to look out for in this Mauricio Pochettino system in that second striker role. But as you can see on the graphic, I've gone with Nkunku there for now because I think he has to get into this team somehow, some way next season given his quality, and Joao Felix could obviously play there as well if needed. And you've also got options as well in terms of Raheem Sterling, who, you know, I think has had an absolutely dreadful season, but in recent weeks has, I think, given us a reason to maybe back in for one more season next year. And then obviously a striker as well, if we were to get a proper striker in terms of someone who's a physical presence, able to play with his back to goal, able to score goals obviously, and able to link up play and just be that complete forward. I think that Chelsea could be absolutely laughing next season. And to be honest, like I've said countless times on this channel in recent weeks, I mean, as ridiculous as it sounds given the fact we've just finished 12th, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility to think that Chelsea could even somewhat compete for the Premier League title next season with this team going forward, and with the depth we will have next season if we get in that goalkeeper with quality, the number 6 and the striker as well. So yeah, I mean, that's how I think Chelsea will line up next season under Mauricio Pochettino. I'm absolutely buzzing now to see how we look next season, and I'm buzzing for pre-season as well. But first of all, I'm going to enjoy a summer off away from Chelsea Football Club, because my God, they have stressed the living fucking daylights out of me for countless weeks now. So yeah, I'll take my break from Chelsea Football Club, and then we go again in pre-season under Mauricio Pochettino, and I cannot wait for it. And you see as well with Pochettino, one thing that I've really liked about him is absolutely every single former player that has ever been managed by Pochettino, especially the ones at Spurs. You've seen Danny Rose come out and say it, amongst other players as well. They really do speak very highly of Mauricio Pochettino as a coach overall, in terms of his ability to be able to be stern, but also his ability to be able to get his players to love him, even though he is very demanding and does like to apparently run his players into the absolute ground during pre-season and during training throughout the whole season. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to as well, is that balance of someone who demands a lot of his players, but also is able to create a family environment around the club and is able to get his players to absolutely fall in love with him. So yep, I'm all for it, to be honest. And just to conclude, right, there's only one real downside that I can see from this appointment from Chelsea Football Club, and that is just the fans. I just think that I'll be really interested to see how the fans react to our first bit of adversity under Mauricio Pochettino. Will they just turn on him? Will they go back to thinking of him as the Tottenham man? And will he be able to make Chelsea fans love him through those tough times? Time will tell, obviously, but that's the only thing that would worry me, is because we've seen Chelsea fans, they have a track record of turning on managers so soon, with Sarri, with obviously Graham Potter more recently as well. So I just worry if that will be the case. But yeah, Chelsea fans, let me know in the comment section below. Spurs fans, also let me know how you guys are feeling in the comment section below, because I'm sure most of you are absolutely depressed, and every single Spurs fan that I know is absolutely depressed on the back of this news. But hey, at least you'll be able to witness Mauricio Pochettino finally win a trophy in English football. But yeah, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, would be absolutely massively appreciated. And also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would also be hugely appreciated, because we are looking to hit 3,000 subscribers on this channel as soon as we can possibly get there. And yeah, turn on that notification bell as well, because you will never miss one of these absolutely scintillating videos, said no one ever. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Chat to you later, and up the chows. Come on, Poch.